Jai Shri Radha Gopinath Lita Devi Shakya Devi ki Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Srila Prabhupada ki Go Premanandi. Okay, devotees like to just sit down for a second for our next part of our Charmrita. After you can take Charmrita and then take a seat. So Srimati Radharani, we hear, is the personification of beauty, the personification of love, the personification of everything perfect, everything beautiful, everything paka. And specifically, one item is beautiful poetry. So on this day, we have a chance to hear a little from our previous Acharya, some of the beautiful poetry that has been given to us by about Srimati Radharani. And then we will also sing the famous song by Rupa Goswami about Srimati Radharani. I have flute in the background, or you want to improvise when I say? Improvise? Okay. So Srila Prabhupada, he himself gave a very simple definition. Srimati Radharani is the best devotee because she loves Krishna the most. So simple, so perfect. She loves Krishna the most. But with a little more elaboration, we'll hear some first from Rupa Goswami, who's our Rasacharya, about the glories of Srimati Radharani. And it is poetry, so it takes a little concentration to hear it. Sometimes it may seem too metaphorical, so we have to give our little concentration to hear some of the feelings of the real devotees for Srimati Radharani. So Srila Rupa Goswami prays, O Queen of Vrindavan, O Radharani, your complexion is like molten gold. Your doe-like eyes are captivatingly restless. 1,000,000 full and brilliant moons wane before your lustrous countenance. And a blue sari, having stolen the hue of a fresh rain-laden cloud, has enwrapped your exquisite form. O Radha, you are the crest jewel of all the dallying damsels of Vrindavan, fragrant and pristine like a budding jasmine flower. Your sublime form is adorned with priceless jewelry, and you are the best of all the charming and intelligent gopis. You are decorated with all wonderful excellences and surrounded by 8 dedicated and beloved cowherd girls known as the Ashtasakhis. The ambrosia of your beautiful lips, red as the bimba fruit, is life-giving syrup to Krishna. O Radha, I am rolling on the banks of the Yamuna, my poor heart filled with anticipation, praying to you with all humility. I am guilty of being an offender, a rascal, a useless wretch. Yet, I beg you to kindly engage me in even the smallest service of your lotus feet. O most merciful lady, it will not become you to ignore this most distressed soul, for your heart is always overflowing with compassion and love. So that was a prayer by Rupa Goswami. So then we have one by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. May that Srimati Radhika, whose bodily complexion snatches away the pride of a golden lotus flower tinged with kumkum, whose bodily fragrance reproaches the fame of a fragrant lotus sprinkled with saffron powder, and who fulfills all the desires of the Prince of Raj, Shri Krishna. May she always bestow upon me the service of her lotus feet. As mentioned this morning, Srimati Radharani is the person who allows us to serve Krishna, so this specific prayer is one of constantly asking for service. May that Srimati Radhika, whose dazzling colourful silk sari defeats the splendour of coral, who is a garden of all varieties of blooming flowers, which attract the maddened bumblebee, Shri Krishna, who comes to play amongst her flowers, and who worships the sun god in order to meet with Krishna eternally. May that Srimati Radharani always bestow upon me the service of her lotus feet. May that Srimati Radhika, whose softness defeats the fame of delicate budding flowers, whose bodily coolness is worshipped by the moon, sandalwood paste, the lotus and camphor, and whose touch dispels the heat of Gopi Jana Vallabha, Shri Krishna's amorous desires. May that Srimati Radhika always bestow upon me the service of her lotus feet. Although Lakshmi Devi is honoured by all the worshipful damsels of the universe, the opulence of her great beauty and ever-fresh youthfulness is overshadowed by that of Srimati Radhika. Nor can Lakshmi Devi surpass her by her natural, loving and playful disposition. May that Srimati Radhika always bestow upon me the service of her lotus feet. May that Srimati Radhika, who upon being separated from Shri Krishna for even half a moment becomes distressed by the ever-rising feelings of her own lowliness and great restlessness, and who upon meeting Krishna through the intense efforts of one of their messengers is relieved of all her mental anguish. May that Srimati Radhika always bestow upon me the service of her lotus feet. Srimati Radhika, whose darshan is rarely attained even by Parvati Devi and other goddesses, who gives great pleasure to her Sakhis, who herself becomes elated upon meeting with Shri Krishna, and who is Krishna's dearest lover, very quickly makes that person who prays to her, singing these verses, a recipient of the nectar of her service. Srimati Radhika ki. And I have one more by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He has written 9 songs. I'll read one just. He who has failed to carefully worship the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika, which are the abode of all auspiciousness, he who has not taken shelter in the transcendental abode known as Vrindavan, which is decorated with the beautiful lotus flower named Radha, he who in this life has not associated with the devotees of Radhika, who are very wise and whose devotion for Radha is very deep, how will such a person ever experience the bliss of bathing in the ocean of Lord Shyam's sublime mellows? Please understand this most attentively. Srimati Radhika is the exemplary teacher of the brilliant mellows of conjugal love. This pure love between Radha and Madhava is worthy of discussion and contemplation. He who has grasped hold of the lotus feet of Radha with great care obtains the lotus feet of Krishna, which are the priceless jewels. Without taking shelter of the lotus feet of Radha, one can never personally meet Lord Krishna. The Vedic scriptures declare that Krishna is the property of the maidservants of Shri Radha. Abandoning wealth, followers, wife, sons and friends, and giving up materialistic activities and intellectual knowledge, being absorbed in the sweetness of service to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. This is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's conviction. Jai Srimati Radharani ki.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadhaite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadhaite Gokula Tarune Mandala Mahite Gokula Tarune Mandala Mahite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadhaite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadhaite Damodati Vardhana Veshe Damodharurati Vardhana Veshe Harinis-kutha Vrinda Vipineshe Harinis-kutha Vrinda Vipineshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadhaite Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadhaite Vrishabhanodadi Navashashileke Vrishabhanodadi Navashashileke Lalita Sakhi Gunaramita Vishake Lalita Sakhi Gunaramita Vishake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadhaite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavadhaite जय राधे जय जय माधव दयिते करुणा कुरु मयि करुणा भरिते करुणां कुरु मयि करुणा भरिते सनक सनातन वर्णित चरिते सनक सनातन वर्णित चरिते हो राधे जय जय माधव दयिते जय राधे जय जय माधव दयिते हो राधे जय जय माधव दयिते राधे 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 गोपीनाथ राधे गोपीनाथ हो राधे जय जय माधव दयिते जय राधे जय जय माधव दयिते गोकुल तरुणी मंडल महिते गोकुल तरुणी मंडल महिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते दामोदर रति वर्धन वेशे दामोदर रति वर्धन वेशे हरिन खोथा वृंद विपिने से हरिन खोथा वृंद विपिने से वृषभानुदधि नवशशिलेखे वृषभानुदधि नवशशिलेखे लालित सखी गुणरमित विशाखे लालित सखी गुणरमित विशाखे करुणा कुरु मयि करुणा भरिते Karuna kuru mai karuna bharite Sanaka sanatana varnita charite Sanaka sanatana varnita charite Sanaka sanatana varnita charite Sanaka sanatana varnita charite Radhe jaya jaya madhava daite Radhe jaya jaya madhava daite Jaya Radhe jaya jaya madhava daite Radhe jaya jaya madhava daite Govinda jaya jaya Gopala jaya jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda jaya jaya Govinda jaya jaya Gopala jaya jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda jaya jaya Govinda jaya jaya Gopala jaya jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda 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 jaya jaya Govinda jaya jaya Gopala jaya jaya Govinda jaya jaya Gopala jaya jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda 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 jaya jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe 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 Jaya Radhe 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 O Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Srimati Radharani Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we may take our, everyone knows their positions for the class by His Grace Srutakirti Guru.
Haribo.
I have to go to cook in a restaurant somewhere here. Abhishek also. I'm not sure if somebody's else is yeah, he's doing it again, so we haven't established. No, I don't know either. You wouldn't have actually. Did I? Yeah. Oh, I won't.
top of speaking, you're going to say. Like the frog? Yeah, I'll see. That's here.
Hare Krishna. So even though His Grace Srutakirti Prabhu needs no introduction, it is a little bit our Vaishnav culture to introduce somebody, and I didn't do it last night. But I said something a little this morning, and for those who weren't here, I want to repeat it again. And Srutakirti Prabhu himself was not here. And this is an important to do it because it increases our ability to hear the speaker when we hear the glorification, the glories of the speaker. And my specific point was, for the many years I've been hearing Prabhupada disciples give us Prabhupada Katha and Srutakirti Prabhu's own times and sessions telling about Prabhupada's nectar. I hope it's not against our culture etiquette to say he is my favorite. And specifically, and I think is Paravajibu is still here too, for those who do drama, we appreciate the skill of engaging an audience and not letting them go. And before these little monsters came along, these things, and before the previous monster of the TV and the previous monster of the movies and the cinemas, for decades, and not decades, for centuries and millennia, the main way we engaged with each other was storytelling. Storytelling. And Srutakirti has developed, I'm not sure consciously or unconsciously, but has developed the perfect art of telling stories. Because as I mentioned, most devotees tell a story, they build up, they get excited, and they tell the punchline, and it's Haribol. And then they start again. So if you picture mathematically, it has this rise and drop, rise and drop. But Srutakirti Prabhu, being from Hawaii, has developed a different style of telling. Because in Hawaii, what's Hawaii famous for? So, well, apart from that. But when a surfer gets on his wave, gets on that wave and he wants to stay in that wave as long as possible, right? And ride the wave for all the excitement and thrill of it. So Srutakirti takes us up on a wave and keeps us in that wave from beginning to end. There's no coming down. There's no splash. It's just one big wonderful wave of Prabhupada Katha. And last night we could see, right? You didn't know where the story began. You didn't know where the story finished. It was just intertwined between story and philosophy and personal. It was just one big wonderful wave. So it's a very beautiful. We very much appreciate his coming and no doubt embracing the austerity of traveling and what that means from it physically, but to share this his experience and his wonderful skill. And I thought this morning, I don't know what the content of his class is, but I'm assuming, and I'll put him on the spot now, that today is Srimati Radha's appearance day, and yet I can imagine very easily he's going to combine the glorification of our most beloved Supreme Goddess, Srimati Radharani, and the representation of her, who we all know a little more, is Srila Prabhupada. Because, so we understand Srila Prabhupada is our via media, is our representative, the spiritual master representative. You can go to Krishna meditating in two ways, through Lord Balaram Tattva, and Srimati Radharani. So today we meditate on how the Guru represents Srimati Radharani. So I can easily imagine he's going to meticulously get us on that wave and ride us to that wave of Radha Katha, which we're all eager for, and Prabhupada Katha, which we're just as eager for. So it's great Srutakirti Prabhu ki. That's your trigger?
Hare Krishna. Should I chant a little?
I chant less time for talking is good. Many times I'm told I'm a hard act to follow by my godbrothers, whether Badri Narayan, whoever it is, Bhakti Tree Swami said, but that was a hard act to follow. He said so much that, anyway, let me chant. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanadari Jaya Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanadari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanadari Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanadari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvajakacharya Asutra Satasi Simad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories of Srila Prabhupada. Oma Gyanat Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksulan Militam Jaina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Svaya Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapatandikam Vanchakopatarubhischa Kripasindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. It was very wonderful to be here for Radhastami. I can't think, I found out, I guess it was about a month ago, a tour was arranged by Gauranga Madhava, yes, Gauranga Madhava, who I knew from Rotterdam 10, 12 years ago. Anyway, this is, I think, sixth place in 6 days. It's just this evening I speak in Brussels, and tomorrow morning, and then I go to Copenhagen and then the Ukraine Festival. So it's very interesting. As I said, I heard thank you. Sarva Prabhu, you spoke yesterday, day before. We have my godbrother Tattavit speaking about Srimati Radharani, so I'm very happy that they've given a lot of information. As Prabhu was saying, I'm hopefully will be able to bring Srila Prabhupada into that mood of Srimati Radharani. As far as my waves, there's some. It's a fact that I have learned, and I have lived in Hawaii for the last 4 years. I've been trying to help out there. It's not an easy place to travel from. So moving to Vrindavan. My wife's already in Vrindavan. That would be the only other place I would want to be for Radhastami. And there were some years ago, I guess it was 10, 12 years ago, I was in Vrindavan. And the day I was leaving, I was, besides after being Prabhupada's servant, I was in Hawaii. I became I was a pujari, so which is just like being a personal servant. Pujari is very much the same, only the deity stays in place. You know, Prabhupada never stayed in place, so it was a little different. But the service is very much the same. And after doing that for some years, of course I wanted to travel again. Srila Prabhupada, when I was with him, it was 1973, so I had been with him a year. And he never gave me he gave me many instructions, do this, it's time for massage, give me this for lunch. But he never said anything to me that would take me into the future, my service for the future. The way Prabhupada did things was just so amazing. You just so easily say something. So it was at the time when he actually started translating Chaitanya Charitamrita. I was one of his first transcribers from the tapes because I needed more engagement. And after doing it for some days, he was in that sitting room where he was translating Chaitanya Charitamrita in New Dwarka. And he called me in, I offered obeisances, and they sat up, and he said, you should become expert. He said, in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He said, and give classes. So, I haven't studied extensively Chaitanya Charitamrita, but I see Srila Prabhupada as just part of Chaitanya Leela. I mean, he's the Chaitanya Charitamrita is going on. So my feeling is that he gave me that. That was his gift. Sometimes sometimes you crash in the waves too. So waves are, very good if you know how to ride them. But if you don't, you can come crashing down. Again, it just shows Srimati Radharani's mercy. It shows Srila Prabhupada's mercy. The fact that on this day, I could be here speaking rather than so many other devotees, so many more qualified. But somehow or other, Prabhupada's allowed me to do this, which again just shows his amazing compassion upon us. I was going to read a few short things that I found. There's been a lot of reading. And let me see, there was one here. Godbrother Ambarish put it on yesterday from Sridham Mayapur. And this is, Srimati Radharani is the ideal Mahabhagavat. As the greatest devotee, she is also the most compassionate. She is unable to bear suffering of the souls trapped in the material world. The word Aradhaya, prayers, is derived from Radha and means worshipable. Similarly, the word aparada, offenses, means against Radha, aparad. When one performs devotional service, one is pleasing Srimati Radharani, and when one commits Vaishnava aparad against Krishna or his devotees, one is offending Radharani. Srimati Radharani is the guardian, the mentor, and the benefactor of all aspiring devotees. When a soul starts to inquire about Krishna, Srimati Radharani is most pleased and takes charge of his devotional advancements. As one makes progress, one continues to invoke the mercy of Srimati Radharani, and when she is pleased, Krishna is automatically pleased. And then here's a few little, these are from Prabhupada's lectures on Radhastami day. Anyone who comes before Radharani to serve Krishna, she becomes so pleased. Here is a devotee of Krishna. She immediately recommends Krishna. Here is the devotee. He's better than me. This we'll see when I start telling you, Srila Prabhupada, this is the mood. This is Prabhupada's mood. Everyone better than me. Engage them in service. I may be a devotee, not devotee. This is Radharani. I may be not devotee. I may be most fallen rascal. But if I try to reach Krishna through Radharani, then my business is successful. Therefore, we should worship Radharani first. That is our business. Instead of offering directly one flower to Krishna, you just put it in the hands of Radharani. My mother Radharani, Jaganmata, if you kindly take this flower and offer it to Krishna. Radharani says, you have brought a flower. Krishna said, Patram pushpam phalam toyam me bhaktya prayachate, Bhagavad Gita. But I don't try to offer Krishna directly, just offer through Radharani. It will be very much appreciated by Radharani. So today is a day where we can get down on our knees and pray to. That's not from Prabhupada. Then the next quote. So this is our philosophy, to please Krishna through Radharani. Just today is the auspicious day of Radharani's appearance. So we should offer Pushpanjali and pray to Radharani. Radharani, kindly be merciful and tell about me your Krishna. Krishna is yours. Krishna, Radha Krishna. Krishna is not independent. Krishna is Radharani's property. So you have to approach Krishna through Radharani. That is, today is the auspicious day. Worship Radharani very nicely and be happy. So, again, to be here, I think it's been 12 years since I've been here. And I can certainly see that Radharani, she's very pleased here. Srila Prabhupada is so pleased with this temple. Interesting, during Guru Puja, I put a garland on and it took me 10 minutes to see that it was uneven. So I went up and fixed it, and of course I see Vijay Chaitanya Prabhu, he recognized it right away. This is what it takes to be successful. You have to always know what to do and do it. I was saying that last night, Prabhupada says, just do it. It's all the details. Everywhere I go, I see everything is just so nicely done. Prabhupada was very much in those same details. He would walk around Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. You know, they had in the back corner there on the left, there's still the donors area, a little office there. And there was, you know, a fan. So he kept saying, you don't see? And everyone's looking around and what to see. You know, there was some dirt on a fan up above. Prabhupada saying, you don't see? This is the mood. This is service. Huh? This is love. So what I saw with Prabhupada, this mood of Srimati Radharani, you do a little service. You're finished. She just takes you. Just like Prabhupada, you do a little service, he takes you. You're infected, and it never goes away. Even if you try, it can't go away. This was Srila Prabhupada's mood. He saw the devotees. Many times I go to temples, and when I speak some of the questions, they'll say, yes, Prabhupada, he saw me. He'd see all my darkness, all my sins, all my past lifetimes, all these things I've done. And they feel guilty, they feel shame, they feel embarrassed. I would go in Prabhupada's room every day. That's not what he was looking at. He was looking at this spark inside amongst all the other things. He just saw this little desire to serve Srimati Radharani, to serve Krishna. And he fanned that flame. That's what he always did. Imagine, Prabhupada sat on the Vyasasana, 1975. Pradyumna was doing a fire sacrifice before him, a marriage ceremony. He was marrying Bali Murdan, his ex-sannyasi, to a woman in the temple room. No one could ever explain it in your wildest dreams. You couldn't explain how something like that could happen. His GBC sannyasi, and it later turned out, of course, it was all. But Prabhupada just encouraged him, despite everything. He didn't want to hear anything from anyone. He just wanted to engage that person in the service of Krishna, because he had done so much service. He didn't see all the other things. With all of us, it was like that. He just saw us as children, foolish children. But he loved us just the same. And if we went away, his mission was to bring us back. To bring us back to the lotus feet, his lotus feet, the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. That was the mood. That was the compassion. He just saw service. So he didn't look at this blackened soul that we had. And what he did see was, how can I engage this? What does this person need to do some service? How can I make them happy? Always that was the mood. I say when he chastised us, it was the same mood. It wasn't, his chastisement was to encourage us. He always chastised us for sleeping. I missed Mangalartik this morning. I've told that story. I never went to Mangalartik with Prabhupada, so that's also my infection. Anyway, his mood was always encouraging us, no matter what happened. And as soon as there was a problem, one of the very beautiful things with Prabhupada was he could chastise you about something very, very, you could say very big. I remember in Los Angeles, those of you who have been to New Dwarka, there was a beautiful temple room when Prabhupada was there in 70, 71, 72, 73. And then he went away for several months. So the temple room was there, and then there was this assembly room with pews. It was the pulpit, is that what you call it? Pulpit. Preacher would give a sermon from there. It had been a church. So that was kind of the church here. It had all pews, it had stained glass windows, 30 feet high on both sides. It was beautiful. And Prabhupada said, this is perfect, he said. We can have lectures in here. He said all the people can come, the people from the area. He said they don't have to take their shoes off. He said it's an assembly hall. He just wanted to give Krishna to everyone. He thought it was such a beautiful room. It was about this size. And he came back a year later. It had become the temple room. And the temple room was later to become the Fate Museum. But he walked into the room, and it was very beautiful. They had paintings, large paintings all on the ceilings, of course the deities, everything was done. But Prabhupada looked, he said, what have you done? He said this room was perfect as it was, the temple room, everything was perfect. He was yelling, Jayatirtha, Karandar. Jayatirtha he could bring to tears. Prabhupada would yell at him. So brokenhearted we were. And that was then. That was one day, one 20-minute session. He never brought it up again. He would walk in the temple room, proudly offer his obeisances. So my point is, this is how he did things. If he ever chastised anyone, it was done, finished. It was in the past. He was always in now, just engaging us in service. He didn't make you feel bad. He didn't bring that guilt up. If I did something over and over, oh yeah, you did that a month ago, you haven't learned your lesson yet. It was never like that with Prabhupada. The mood was always positive. I have, traveling with him, I went to Bhaktivedanta Manor in 1973. So Shyama Sundar had been his secretary for over a year. He was the best secretary. He was my favorite Prabhupada secretary. And after he left there, he was GBC, he was at Bhaktivedanta Manor. So he was developing Bhaktivedanta Manor. So Prabhupada came there in August. The temple president was there. There's sannyasi there, everybody, Nandan Swami. And as soon as Prabhupada got there, they came into the room. They wanted to see Prabhupada, so Prabhupada called them in. And immediately, the temple president, he started saying, Prabhupada. And he was very forceful. Prabhupada, I know it. He said, our GBC is not chanting his rounds, not chanting any rounds. I know it, because he's watching. He's watching to see. And Prabhupada just looked at him, and beside him is Rabhati Nandan Swami. So temple president, resident sannyasi, and I'm sitting somewhere over there. And Prabhupada just looked at this devotee. He said, you go. He just sent him right out of the room. He didn't like his attack. He didn't like the way he was criticizing. He didn't say, our GBC is not chanting, we need to do something, how can we help him? No, he wanted him gone. That was the voice coming out. He's not chanting, I don't like him. This is the the underwords that were there. And Prabhupada said, you can go. So now it's Prabhupada and Maharaj is there. He said, Prabhupada, he said, it's a fact. He said, everybody knows it. He said, he's not. Now, he's talking much, just simply, he's just stating, this is what's going on. He said, in the temple, there's so much devotees are talking. And he said, but it's a fact, he's not chanting his rounds. Prabhupada looked at him, he said, Arjun didn't chant rounds. He said he was fighting a war. He said he didn't have time to chant. Then he said, anyway, that's how you should see it. He just turned the whole thing around. Us, how we have to see things. The proper way to see everyone. He said, he's doing so much service. That's all you should see. He's so busy. Anyway, Shyam Sundar still, he's doing so much service. All of these devotees. I see these devotees, about a dozen of them. I came 66, 65. They're untouchable. You could say, you don't want to say anything about any devotee, but especially these. These were Prabhupada's frontline devotees. Huh? They were his, what do we say? They were who the first ones to go in? They're the, all those things. Yes. Anyway, Shyama Sundar Malati, so many of them that are there. Amazing service. and I saw what they had. They just want to serve Prabhupada. What did Prabhupada have? From his very birth, what did Prabhupada always say? My father. So my father, whenever someone sadhu, he would say, and there was so many bogus sadhus out there, Prabhupada would say, he said, but my father, whenever anyone would come for a donation, he would give a donation and say, please, you make my son servant of Srimati Radharani. That was his only prayer. He said, my father's prayer was, you please make him a servant of Srimati Radharani. And that's what, of course, that's what he is. Foremost servant of Srimati Radharani. And in that mood of, I just see service. He's done some service. So Prabhupada corrected everything. And then, of course, he called him in and said, I know you're busy, but you have to try chant your rounds. Find some time, chant your rounds like that. But never sent anyone away. The only time Prabhupada ever became angry, we saw Prabhupada angry. He yelled at me, yelled at so many. But the only time you saw Prabhupada angry is if someone started to change the philosophy, diluted what he had given us, added things, changed things, like when they had the Gopi Bhava Club in Los Angeles. Prabhupada was, then that wasn't Srimati Radharani, that was Lord Nrsingadev. He became Lord Nrsingadev, and his literally his eyes would become red, his lips would quiver. You didn't even want to be around. I would cower in the corner of the room if he was chastising someone in that mood. But he knew that was the one and only danger. He didn't mind for our silliness, our senses. He said, I said last night, you Westerners, so much intoxication, so many things. He knew that was just a matter of time. You just keep chanting, 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 everything will be all right. One of those people, Gaur-Sundar and Govinda Dasi. So they were in Hawaii. They developed a temple in 1969, 1970. By 1972, things had broken up in Hawaii. Gaur-Sundar closed the temple. It was on McKinley Street. Prabhupada, the letters were going back and forth. Prabhupada said, who was taking care of Tulsi Devi? What's going on? Prabhupada was so upset. He not only sold the temple, when they sold it, there was some money went to one of the devotees who had given a down payment. He gave it back. The remainder he took. He went to the big island, different island in Hawaii, and developed a farm there. So it was 2 years later, and I'm with Srila Prabhupada as a servant, and we're in Hawaii. Guru Kripa was GBC. So Prabhupada said, I want to go to the big island. ISKCON also had a farm that they had just started on the big island. So Prabhupada said, I want to go to the big island to see the farm. That's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to see Gaur-Sundar, who was on the big island. And Prabhupada heard he was on the big island. So Guru Kripa said to me, looked at me, and I was Prabhupada's dog, his shadow. I went everywhere with him. He looked at me, he said, I'm going with him. You're not going. That was it. So I got to stay in the temple for the day. Prabhupada went to the big island. So he's saying, where do we see Gaur-Sundar? Where is Gaur-Sundar? Imagine, he's traveling around. He's looking for Gaur-Sundar. Why? That never happened. So then Guru Kripa, well, we'll go see the farm. No, you don't need to see the farm. He wasn't interested in the farm. He wanted to see Gaur-Sundar. So a few days go by, and at the temple, it's a nice little house. And there was a carport. So above the carport was a patio where Prabhupada would take his massage in the sunshine in the morning. So they're giving massage. And who would come? Gaur-Sundar shows up. Gaur-Sundar was a very striking look, very deep-set eyes, was a Scorpio rising, had those very intense, very intelligent, very intelligent. He was translating Bengali back in 1970. But now he has long hair, very long hair. He's got a beard. And he didn't look, shining. So he came in and he just sits down in front of Prabhupada. As I'm behind Prabhupada, just massaging. And Prabhupada said, "Oh, you've come." Prabhupada was very happy to see him. "How are you?" He's not saying anything. He's just, okay. And what are you doing? And then Prabhupada just looked at him. He said, "What did I do that you left?" He didn't mention money. He didn't care. He said, "What did I do?" He said, "What offense have I committed that made you leave the temple?" He said, "Why have you gone?" He said, "What can I do?" Tears were coming down his eyes. This devotee has done so much. That's all he saw. He didn't see anything else. That same mood. He's done some wonderful service. And he had done wonderful service. He was doing wonderful service. He said, "What can I do? How can I get you to come back?" He kept asking him, "What have I done?" It wasn't a political statement. It was from his heart. It was from Prabhupada's heart. Tears are coming down his eyes. He said, "How can I bring you back?" He'd never said anything. He just sat there. And finally Prabhupada said, "Okay, you can go." And he went. And I'm still massaging Prabhupada. Guru Kripa was on the other side of the door listening as well to the whole conversation. I'm massaging and Prabhupada's not even looking at me, he's in front of me. And he just said, "He's a big rascal." He said, "But I love him." That's all. Big rascal. He's sitting right here before you. I'm just a big rascal. But I know Prabhupada loves me because even imperfectly I did a little service. And he doesn't forget. That's why I'm here. That's why you're all here. It's that direct compassion. It's the compassion of Srila Prabhupada. It's the compassion, the mercy of Srimati Radharani that he's exhibiting to all of us. It's beyond any amount that we could understand. I know myself, it's so easily to become offended by someone. No offenses, huh? Prabhupada didn't see any offense. Imagine sitting there with Gaurasundar. All he could say is, "Please come back." He'd say, "Come, take this temple. Just take it and manage it." That's all he wanted. "You please come back and do your service." Huh? This is a devotee. This is the mood of a devotee. We call ourselves devotee. This is the mood we have to develop. We want to see everyone engaged in Krishna's service. Everyone, no matter what that background is, and no matter what was done in the past. Another instance was, some of you know Amekala from the past. She was in New York. It was 1976. They had just gotten 55th Street. Prabhupada would sit on that roof, 14-story building. It looked so beautiful. He loved to see all the... Prabhupada loved the country. He loved sitting under the trees everywhere he went. Bhaktivedanta Manor. He didn't care that he had a gorgeous sitting room like this. He'd go outside and sit on the lawn, chant, hear from Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's what he wanted. But now he's there. He's happy to see that he conquered New York, just like he conquered England. Another one is that desire to serve overcomes everything. When Prabhupada went to England for 1973 Rath Yatra, he had been in India. He was very sick. And he was in Calcutta. He was very, very ill. One night he was literally sighing, moaning in his room. So much pain was there in his stomach. I went in, I didn't even know what to do. I was just rubbing. Anyway, 2 days later, he has letters. One is from Australia, from Muddied Visa, inviting him to Australia. Prabhupada went there so many times. I say how it was amazing because it's not on the way anywhere. It's not on the way to the US, it's not on the way to India, it's just down under, a 14-hour flight. But he went there many, many times on the invitation of Muddied Visa, who had done so much service. It was Bali Murdan opened up Australia with Upendra Prabhu, and then Muddied Visa came in, and then of course really developed the place. When he left sannyas, one day he mailed his danda. No letters, no nothing. The danda came in the mail to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, just see, he said, he's sincere. He said he's ashamed. He said, but we shouldn't. He also chastised everyone. He said, so many rumors, he said. He's such a nice devotee. He said, you're making it, he can not even come to the temple. He's embarrassed. 1977, while I was there, both Muddied Visa and Gaur Sundar came to see Prabhupada. This was September 1977. Prabhupada was so happy to see them both. They came at different days. I arrived with Muddied Visa from Hawaii, just coincidentally. We were on the plane together. Prabhupada was so happy to see him. He had just shaved his head. He had a big, long sika. And Prabhupada said, so? He said, now you're a grahasta. He said, like Srutakirti. He said, so just do your continue, do your service. He said, just do your service. Gaur Sundar had brought his partner at that time. Prabhupada initiated her right on the spot. September 1977, Chandi. Chandi was with Gaur Sundar at that time. Prabhupada gave her initiation. Prabhupada just wanted to show, I love you. Everything he did was just so, I love you. Just do some service. That's how I feel all the time, despite so many weaknesses. Prabhupada just do some service. And he maintains us. This is Srimati Radharani's role. She sees us doing service, she just encourage. So in New York, Mekhala was working in the kitchen. They had Govinda's restaurant on the ground floor. So the place was developing. They had a gift shop. Taitreya, Bali Murdan's wife, was in charge of the gift shop. So Mekhala was telling me every day Rishi Kumar would come. He had been a sannyasi. He had also been Prabhupada's servant. He was a very good cook. But now he had fallen away. It was known by all the devotees because we like to talk about one another. Everyone knew he didn't follow any principles. Therefore, no one would hardly look at this person coming to the temple. He told Mekhala, I'm just coming to eat. He said, he was attracted to prasadam. It was cooked in ghee at that time. And he had that attraction to prasadam very much. So he would come and eat. So he was not even vegetarian. And he was complaining that because he had joined the movement way back in the 60s, that he missed his opportunity to be a big rock star. He was a musician. And he said, I gave my youth to Prabhupada. I lost my opportunity. I could have been somebody. I could have done this. I could have done that. So devotees found him offensive. So for so many reasons, they would talk about him, but no one would talk to him, except Mekhala. She had a soft heart, Mekhala. She liked the downtrodden, the women, the children, anyone that was suffering in some way, they would come to her. They just saw in her this quality. So one day he comes, lunchtime, he comes to eat. but there's 20 devotees in front of the temple. And they're chanting Harinam right in front of the temple doors there at 55th Street. So he comes, he says, what's going on? She said, Prabhupada's coming. He goes, oh, he said, well, I came to have lunch. This was his mood. He was very covered. And she's already in anxiety. Anytime Prabhupada's going to pull up, here's this disciple, long hair, everything, So now she's in anxiety. Devotees are chanting Tamal. Krishna Maharaj is there, Adi Keshava Swami was there. And sure enough, car pulls up, comes from the airport. And they open the door and Prabhupada's right there in the car. And 5 feet away is Rishi Kumar and Amekala and all the other devotees, and everybody's jumping up and down, dancing, crying, laughing. As soon as you saw Prabhupada, all the emotions would come out. And of course, he's just kind of standing there, and Prabhupada gets out. And as soon as he gets out, he sees him. And he starts walking towards him. And the interference squad came over, the Swamis, and they're trying to... And Prabhupada goes right up to Rishi Kumar. He said, so, you'll cook for me while I'm here? And in his ear, they're whispering, Prabhupada, he eats meat. He's offensive. They're trying to tell him, he can't cook for you. Prabhupada, so, you'll cook for me? He says again, you'll cook for me while I'm here? Yes, Prabhupada. So while he was there, he cooked for Prabhupada, this non-vegetarian, sinful person. And who helped him? Amekala, the only person that would even give this person any attention, this devotee of Prabhupada, initiated. Prabhupada gave him sannyas. You may have seen the other day, there's in a letter or quote or conversation, Prabhupada said, they were not sannyas. He said, but it's wartime. He said, just when you don't have anyone qualified, he said, you take every 5th man, you make him a lieutenant. He's not a lieutenant, but you give him that authority. He said, and then he does. He said, but most will fall away. But they fall away in Prabhupada's service. They're not fallen. They just went away for a little while. But it's never finished. That's what Prabhupada always saw. Bring back right away as soon as possible. So he kept saying, you cook for me. Like when he said to me, you have jaundice, so what? You cook for me. Prabhupada, there's nothing Prabhupada was going to get materially infected by. He said it himself. When they wouldn't let him into India after going to Africa because he didn't have his yellow fever shot. Ramana was there, Shyam Sundar. Prabhupada was so upset. They put him in quarantine for a week. This little room, was a quarantine room. So once he went in, he said, it's a good place to sit and relax. Prabhupada just accepted it. But he told them, he said, there's no question of getting any material disease. He says, when the body is transcendental, he says, there's no question of any disease. When I see people talk about Prabhupada and saying things like diabetes, and I just cover... I just know Prabhupada is transcendental, totally engaged in service, constantly, under the direction of Srimati Radharani. Save all these souls. That's what she wants. Save everyone. And that was Prabhupada's mission, to save everyone. Be it myself, all of you, all of us, Rishi Kumar, Shyam Sundar, like Prabhupada said, in that one letter, he said, there'll be ISKCON in the spiritual world. That's for some, that's a very scary letter. They're thinking, oh my God, how am I going to manage an ISKCON? They can't manage an ISKCON here. And I think there's going to be ISKCON in the spiritual world, Prabhupada said. He said, and everyone will go. He said, except Mr. Nair. That's the one soul that even Srimati Radharani, I don't think she's even got any compassion for Mr. Nair. You all know the story? Anyone don't know who Mr. Nair is? Oh, should I tell who Mr. Nair is? Okay. When Prabhupada purchased the land in Juhu, which was just south of Bombay City, which is now part of Bombay City, when he purchased it from this man, Mr. Nair, he was a con man. He would sell, then he would come up with some discrepancies, paid his politician, and he would get it back. So he would get your down payment, and then ultimately he would just get the land back. He had done it many times, but he sold it to Prabhupada. So that was a mistake, because Prabhupada, what's the first thing Prabhupada would do? As soon as you get a piece of land, everyone knows in India, you buy land, you build a temple. It wasn't a temple, it was just a platform with a corrugated tin roof on it, and he put Radharasa Bahari there, most beautiful deities. And he told Radharani, he said, please excuse me putting you in this place like this. It was horrible. I mean, except for that little altar area, it was a swampy fishing village. But they were there, and he said, I will build you a very beautiful temple. Please just stay here. I promise I will build a very beautiful temple. So it went on for over a year, back and forth, this Mr. Nair person, just causing so much aggravation. Prabhupada said, he would give Prabhupada a headache because his disciples didn't know how to deal with it. He was the only one that could fix things. One after another, they would go to India. Prabhupada's soldiers, his soldiers. I remember one came, he had been in France, he was GBC there. And after everyone else was failing, this was 74. When you lived in India for some time, you just wanted to survive and get one thing done in a day, you were happy. So they're falling down. His soldiers are literally, they're just collapsing physically. So he came in. I remember him coming into Prabhupada's sitting room, silk, dhoti, kurta, everything ironed real nicely, right out of right off the plane from Air France, Nice tilak. Yes, you know who it is. Nice tilak, dandabat. Oh, you've come. Yes, Prabhupada, and I'm going to take care of everything. Don't you worry. I've got this under control, and I'll deal with every day I would see him come in with his report, and his clothes were getting grayer, because you can't, his face was getting grayer. His beard was coming in, his hair. He was defeated within a week. It was only Prabhupada. He was the surrendered. It requires full surrender. So Prabhupada kept battling this man. Then one day we were in New Zealand. I had only been with Prabhupada for a few months. It was his first trip right after January 73. He went to New Zealand. Tushta Krishna was there, Siddha Swarup. And I'm massaging him. Massage is a very interesting time. So I'm giving him massage. I'm behind him. We're sitting on the floor in gumchas. We both have our gumchas on. And Prabhupada is sitting, I'm rubbing. And to the door comes Tushta Krishna. And he says, Prabhupada, there's a phone call for you from India. And Prabhupada didn't even look at me. He said, you take it. He didn't even get up. He said, you take it. So I go to the phone, get the message. And Prabhupada, so I'm walking towards the doorway to the room. Prabhupada looking. He wants to know what's a phone call. You don't call Prabhupada on the telephone. Telegrams were rare. Phone calls were never. But it was a phone call. So Prabhupada's wondering, what is going on? He's looking. I come to the door. He's looking. I said, Prabhupada, Mr. Nair died. Prabhupada goes, thank you, Krishna. I had only been in the temple for less than 2 years, year and a half or so. Thinking, geez, that was rather mean. Somebody died and Prabhupada's happy about it. I didn't know the history, what was going on, So I'm behind Prabhupada, and Prabhupada knows everything. He knows everyone's thoughts. If he wants, he knows your thoughts. He knew my thoughts all the time. And still I would go into his room. Imagine because usually he ignored my thoughts. He had his own thoughts. It wasn't his business to think what we're doing, how bad we are. Just engage in service. That's what he wanted. So now I'm behind him, massaging him, and Prabhupada you could just see the relief. He said he was such a demon. He said, so much trouble. He said he's given to the devotees. He said, and to the deities. He said, when I placed them there, he said, I told them, he said, I'll build you a very beautiful temple here. You please remain here. So he said, there was no question that he was going to remove them. See, that was his mood. His disciples were coming and saying, maybe we should buy another piece of land. We have plenty of money. Land was available cheap then. Now the place, it's grand. What did I have? Heaven on earth. What's the place called? Heaven on earth. Everything is marble. The temple's marble. They have this huge guest house, restaurant, underground parking. Everything's white marble. It's literally like heaven on earth there. More Lakshmi comes into that temple than any temple in the world. Any ISKCON temple in the world. It's the #1 temple, bringing in Lakshmi. And this was all Prabhupada's desire, such a strong desire to serve their lordships. He said so much he's done, so many difficulties. He said, even my disciples said, just let's do something else. He said, but I couldn't. He said, I had made a promise. So now I'm hearing from Prabhupada and all these things he's saying. I said, so Prabhupada, I said, if Krishna killed him, I said, was he liberated? He said, no. He said, he was not that big of a demon. He said, Krishna didn't come and personally kill him. So he said, he even negated the opportunity of a liberation for him. And then he said, last time I saw him, he would come to Juhu when he was there, because he lived in Bombay, so he would come. And it's why I never understood the level of how Prabhupada felt about him. Because when I saw them talking, they seemed to just talk. Even he was an enemy. Prabhupada would bring him in, he'd offer him prasadam. He was nice to him, so I thought he was just another man, But he wasn't. This man, he tried to take the deity's property. But Prabhupada said, last time I saw him, he said, I noticed he was limping. He said, his leg. He said, and I thought, Krishna's going to kill him. You don't want to, don't want to mess with the pure devotee. So Krishna killed him. Prabhupada said, yes. So that was Mr. Nair. That was the story of Mr. Nair. How so even Prabhupada said, everyone, he said, is going back to Godhead. He said, all my disciples, he said, they're sincere, he said, pure devotees. That's how we should see them. Pure, impure, it's not our call. It's not our judgment. You leave it up to Srimati Radharani to judge who's capable of serving. Who can go to Vrindavan? I was saying that when it was 2007, we stayed in Vrindavan for a month or so, and I was leaving. The day I was leaving, I was supposed to give class that morning. And after Mangalarti, my godbrother asked me if I wanted to go on the altar. He said, because he's putting Gopi dots on the deities. This from South America, I forget his name. And I said, sure, I'll go just to be on the altar. So right after Mangalarti, we go, and I don't know, someone approached me and said, they do all the mantras and all. They said, do you want to bathe Srimati Radharani? So it was literally, he gave me a thing in a washcloth, because you actually give her like a sponge bath. He said, so you can bathe and dress her, which meant just putting on the basic things. So I walked into this situation to watch, and all of a sudden Srimati Radharani gave me this, something I never even dreamed of doing. And I got to bathe her, dry her, and then dress her. They made little flower bracelets, anklets. So I got to do all that day. And I felt her mercy. And I gave a class. I don't even know what I said during the class. Must have been outrageous because I was just I was in Vrindavan. I was at Srimati Radharani's lotus feet, and I thought, this is all I want to do, is just sit here and serve their lordships. 7 years ago, I had to move to the USA. I got married. My wife has a Russian passport. 7 years I've been living in the US just to get her a US passport, get her citizenship and a US passport for the purpose of getting a 10-year visa to India. It took 7 years. It took so long I forgot why I was even in Hawaii. I'm thinking, why am I here? I can't even travel anywhere. Everything cost $1,000 to go anywhere. No one wanted to see me for $1,000. But for 7 years, our desire was, we're going to get visa to India and go live in Vrindavan. My wife's already there. We got her a visa. It was back in December, after getting her passport, swearing in as a U.S. citizen. She had no desire to be a U.S. citizen. Neither I had no desire. We just wanted to go back to Vrindavan. Because after 40 years, I told you, if you read my book, you'll see Vrindavan, India, anywhere in India was the last place I wanted to be because I was always sick. But something happened back then, and I got a little taste after 40 years. Now my residence, I have to go down to Hawaii after all this little travel here, and I'm shut down where I'm living, renting, and I'm moving to Vrindavan. And hopefully from there I'll travel around too. But that desire to be in that atmosphere where you can just serve so nicely. I see here, Prabhu here, he's just done such a magnificent job in this temple. I have to say it's one of the nicestly run temples I've ever been in. Prabhupada likes everything. Prabhupada always liked the details. Everywhere is so nice and clean. I can see how everything's been done, all the gold leafing. The deity worship is wonderful. So it all comes from desire, and it all comes from leadership. And Prabhupada, that was his process. He said, you stay. Pujaris, he would say, once you become a pujari, that deity, they're your life. You can't even think of leaving their service. He said, this is pujari. This was Prabhupada's mood. And for management, the same thing. He said, otherwise, how can we be successful? He would say, changing managers, he said, 3-4 times a week. Prabhupada had a way of embellishing his. But this was it. Just come and try to do something and understand who's giving you the facility, who's giving you the empowerment to do it. It's all coming through Srila Prabhupada's mercy. It's all coming from Srimati Radharani. It's that same mood. Everyone should be engaged in service. No one's excluded. You remember Nitai, he was one of the Sanskrit editors. He also left Prabhupada. He was Sanskrit editor, which means he would look at some of the translations and think, wow, why is Prabhupada using this word? It should be this word. And eventually he asked Prabhupada if he could go take initiation from a Baba, Radha Kund Baba. Prabhupada said, you can go. As many people say many different things. You can go do business. You can go here. You can go there. But he said, you go do what you want. He sent him away. Later on, a few years later, he said, you can tell Nitai, I forgive him. He could never hold, even at that level, even philosophically, he just wanted to forgive, bring you back. Same thing with Devananda. Another one of his personal servants. He was a Maharaj. He came into Prabhupada's room in India. He had left and grew out his hair. He became a Indian type sadhu. Growing long hair, beard. He came to see Prabhupada. He started doing all these mudras in front of Prabhupada. Prabhupada was trying to talk to him. I don't even know what he was, making little. Finally, Prabhupada said, Brahmananda. That was it. Brahmananda escorted him out. He was out the door. But again, he also before he left. He died some years ago, but he also, Prabhupada forgave him. He came back to Prabhupada. It's only Prabhupada's mercy brings us all back, because he's right here. He's right here. Each place I go, I just say, if you're here, Prabhupada is maintaining you. You have to understand, it's personal. We don't say founder Acharya for nothing. This is his ISKCON, it's his temple. He's there. So many places you'll see him. In Vrindavan, 1975. He was going to the altars, he was on the altar. When they had the opening, when they installed the deities, Prabhupada's sitting on the altar under Gaur Nitai, Bhaktisiddhanta sitting across from him. This is Prabhupada's position. He's with us all the time. He's in charge. He's taken from Srimati Radharani, he's taken that personal service to save us because we did a little something. I think there was one other. Let me see. Rishi Kumar, Krishnandar, Shamasundar. Another thing with Srimati Radharani, special mercy. So from India, in Melbourne, they say Melbourne Temple, they have Radha Krishna. Maybe this, just like these deities here, maybe an inch or two taller, marble, just like these deities. And when Prabhupada left India for one of his trips to Australia, we brought the deities for installation. So it was Prabhupada, myself, and Bali Murdan. So Prabhupada had his bead bag. I was carrying Srimati Radharani. Bali Murdan was carrying Krishna. So we get onto the plane, and Prabhupada would sit in his seat. Then next to him was Srimati Radharani. She had her seatbelt around her. And then I sit there, and Bali was behind us. And they're a little heavy. So we fly from Delhi or Bombay. Then we made a stop somewhere in Asia. Then we made another stop in Sydney. So each time we stop, we're transferring. We have to get off. So we take the deities. We get off the plane. We go sit down in the lounge, put the deity next to Prabhupada. So now we're at now it's Sydney. And we're about to go to Melbourne. And we're sitting down just in the gate area, just in chairs. Prabhupada's sitting, Radharani sitting, Krishna's sitting, I'm sitting. And Prabhupada looks at me. He said, Krishna is very pleased with your service, that you've undertaken this austerity. I couldn't even imagine what he was talking about, but he was talking about me carrying Srimati Radharani. He said, he's very pleased that you're doing this service. He never said things like that to me. It was very rare he would say something that was very personal. But I took it that Srimati Radharani was pleased. She was pleased that I was bringing her to Melbourne, a little thing. But it was Srimati Radharani, and it was Prabhupada said it. Every day I was doing something, carrying things here and there, but I thought it was some special mercy from Srimati Radharani. So I was there for the installation. I was there 12 years ago, I guess, for a festival there. I saw them for first time after many years. Anyway, we're completely dependent always on the mercy of Guru and Krishna and Srimati Radharani. We have nothing without that. If we begin to think, I'm really doing well, look at all the things I'm accomplishing. Going here, going there, making it, so many things. If we think we're doing anything, we're already finished. Just a question of time. It's a matter of time. To understand everything's coming through the mercy of Guru, of Srila Prabhupada, particularly within his society. This is his place, his society. And we're his. We're his dogs. Very happy. I literally felt that way. Sometimes this lying right at his bed on the floor, just like a dog, faithful dog would do. But that's all we want to be. So let me see. We're approaching 10 o'clock, I guess. There's a few minutes left. I hope. Anyway, are there any questions or comments from anyone? Sarva Prabhu.
What happens when we
Yeah, I don't know any more history than that. I don't know. I couldn't say. But I just know that, Prabhupada showed all of us how to deal with one another. There was no spot where someone was unapproachable to try to engage in service. There was never any place where I thought, oh, he's gone. Prabhupada just, because that's the only way to come back is service. Our service is everything. That's the first step. So even we fall away, only atonement is to engage in service. So Prabhupada knew that, because from the beginning, that's what he did. He took us, most fallen people in the West, and he just said, here, do some service. Our first service, chanting and taking prasadam. He cooked personally for the devotees. Imagine the benefit these people were having, Prabhupada cooking for them. He said 12. I was cooking for 12 every day. That was that dozen. Prabhupada every day was cooking for him. So they got a lot of mercy. And from that, they did so much. But that's what you have to see. It's because of what Prabhupada did. Like I see, if I can talk at all, he's letting me. Krishna wants to glorify his pure devotee. Otherwise, I have no ability to do anything. It's all I did. When I saw I was here for Radhastami, I've spent the last month thinking, how am I going to say anything in this temple room? Especially here in Radhadesh, everybody's a scholar. They're filled with scholars. It's like here in Alachua, to me, they're like some of the most anxiety-ridden places to speak, and everyone's... What Shastra did you find that in, And I'm very appreciative. Yes, Prabhu.
I just want to thank you so much for this wonderful class.
Thank you.
Every time I hear you, it's more and sweeter and sweeter. This class, because you show to us, especially those who know Prabhupada only from his lectures and from his books, like Maya,
Yes.
that impression that he is a confession to so much life.
So much different.
So touching and so encouraging.
Yes. Always encouraging. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Could you please finish the story about Prabhupada going through Ratha Yatra in London?
Oh, yes, thank you. So he's in Calcutta. He was very, very ill. So he gets a letter from Mother Visa inviting him to go to Perth. He said, we have one of the devotees' parents has a cottage, beach cottage. Perth was a beach town. You can come there and rest from your illness. But he gets a letter from Shyam Sundar. We're having Ratha Yatra in London, 3 carts. And he's inviting Prabhupada. So it was the morning time in Calcutta. So many devotees, his disciples were there, Bhavananda and Gargamuni, Tamal Krishna, all those. So he rings the bell. He says, call them. And call everyone. Call them, he said. So we all assemble in the room. And they're sitting in front of him. He said, so? He said, I have invitation to go to Australia to rest. And he's ill. He's weak. He said, and I have an invitation to go to London for Ratha Yatra. He said, so I want all you, big men, you discuss and tell me what you think I should do. He did this a few times. When I was around, I saw him do this a few times. So they leave. Now it's massage before lunch. We're out on the veranda massaging Prabhupada. I've been with him now a year. So Srutakirti says, what's your opinion? What should I do? Go to Australia, rest, or go to Ratha Yatra in London? I'm behind him. So I didn't answer his question. I said, well, Prabhupada, I think you're going to go to London because there'll be thousands of people there and you're going to speak. He says, you understand. That's all he said, you understand. So he has lunch, takes a nap for half an hour, gets up, he rings the bell. He said, call them. So I called them. These are his big, so I'll come, they sit down. He said, so, what is your conclusion? What do they say? The opposite. You should go to Australia and rest. He just shakes his head. Because he was trying to teach us. This is the person, Prabhupada. You never stop. Nothing's going to stop you from doing your service. So, of course, he went to Rath Yatra in London. They made all arrangements for him so he could sit in the Vyasasan because he was weak. He wasn't going to be in front. But he never sat down. That video is there. You can see the Prabhupada at Rath Yatra. I spent most of my time just trying to keep people away because he's dancing, for a couple of miles in front of the cart. So much so, he created so much disturbance. The police, the bobbies, one of them came up to me early on and he said, you have to tell, everyone knew he was the man, he was the leader. He said, you have to tell your leader to sit down. He's making because they thought, this was one of the first Rath Yatras, so they thought we were going to be like a marching band and everybody in unison. Devotees, you can't, like we say, like herding cats, In New York, we're supposed to be on this side of the street and they're all leaning and cars are going and the police are pushing us. You can't control the devotees. And so he said, you have to tell your leader to, control these people. He said, otherwise we're going to have to stop the festival. Imagine, stop this parade, he says to me. So, and Prabhupada's dancing, he's there with his hands in the air. He was sick. He didn't look sick. His hand, everybody in here, he's jumping. And that's what probably he induced all of us. He was going to make it a grand festival on his own, and he was just doing it. So it's like, he goes like this. He turns around. He sees my face. I didn't get one word out. He just did a pirouette, He did a 360. He just went around, saw me, and just kept spinning. Like that was it. He said, what could you possibly have to say to me? So I went to the policeman. I said, you're welcome to speak to him. And he didn't even attempt it. Then the parade went on for 2 miles. Prabhupada sang and danced and just enlivened everyone. And then he delivered this very powerful lecture there, at the statue of Nelson. Yes, Admiral Nelson. It was in the paper the next day how our Rath Yatra carts, challenged Nelson there. So Prabhupada was so happy. That day, he conquered England. Imagine his whole lifetime, right? He went to his Prabhupada, said, what are we going to do? We're under British rule. Right? That was his very first statement to his guru. How can we deliver Lord Chaitanya's message? Who's going to listen to us? And what did he say? It's beyond all of that. No, never mind that. But this was the point. Prabhupada conquered England. All those years of subjugation. I thought, now, he was so happy. Now, of course, you see the manner. They put their signs out right before Janmashtami. Avoid this road these days because there'll be 50,000 cars driving into the temple to see their lordships. So much so, he took over England. So thank you for that, yes. So there was no, I saw that many, he was sick, then he'd get up and do this lecture, and then you'd literally carry him back into the room. I did that in Vrindavan. He spoke for half an hour. No one would think anything was wrong. And there wasn't ever anything wrong. He was beyond, the miseries. One more, there was...
I was just wondering if the Rishi Kumar, after he spoke...
Yeah, he was asking too. I don't know what happened afterwards, but I'm sure he's okay. Just like Sudama was okay when his time of death came, Prabhupada came to him. Just like that sannyasi, he was a German sannyasi, right, in New York. At the end he popped up and said, Prabhupada, you're here, after being immersed in sinful activity for years. Prabhupada doesn't forget. This is Srimati Radharani's quality. He doesn't forget the service. The other things, it's just being in this body in the material world in Kali Yuga. He accepted that. And that was the other side. Like he said, there was the books. There was the Vyasasan. It was absolute. There was no wiggle room. He didn't make any compromises. But basically in his room, it's all he did was compromise, just to keep you engaged in service. Yes. Yes.
Can I tell you that this was the best Radhastami lecture
Huh?
That this was the best Radhastami lecture I ever heard.
Hare Krishna.
You should
Hare
never
Krishna.
be thinking, oh, how can I speak in front of scholars, because you touch one's heart.
I've paid him for these comments. We waited 2 hours for him to come in the vehicle so he would be here yesterday so we could bring him. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Everything's Prabhupada's mercy. Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very, very much. I have 8 books left about a Mekhala. I'm leaving 3:30 today. I hear I'm giving a class this evening. So if anyone wants one of those, otherwise it's okay. I'm sure they'll be gone by the time I leave Brussels. Hare Krishna. Jai.
I can ask you a question.
Yes, yes.
What was the first name of Mr. Nair? Everybody say
Mr. Nair. Mr. Nair. I'll think of it, tell you. It's there. Mr. Nair's first name.
Demon.
Demon.
Prabhupada said
Demon.
something what day will be next time? Like,
No, he didn't spend a lot of time talking about it.
ça va commencer dans 5 minutes. Nice to have you back here. You doing good? With this one? For me, it's been fine. It's been fine, yeah. This harmonium has survived like seven tsunamis of devotees coming through. We have the coverages here. Yeah. Oh, we had, and and I have no idea where it disappeared. It used to be here always with the harmonium, but it's been a while. And obviously, some person at some point thought, "What is this?" and put it away. Unfortunately, you do exactly this size. Sure. But I would then probably put it in the cupboard there because that's the thing. That's the reason why. Yeah. And usually I wrote it on there. So then it should not move. Even if the room next door should not move because all the previous harmoniums died. So it's lucky like that. Still alive. Still alive. Why? T'as compris ma chose? C'est lui qui a passé le plus longtemps à faire le travail. They're gonna come out? No, when they're a few minutes. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare